You're now listening to the legendary Vinyl Esquire. Vinyl Esquire. You're now listening to the legendary Vinyl Esquire.
We call the man Grand.
We call him the great Grandmaster D. Say one for the money, two for the heart. Grandmaster D and tear the place apart. One time, two times.
Vinyl Esquire.
We go easy on the tweeter, heavy on the bass melody. In the ribbon, let's rock this place. Two hands, two hands, two hands. One more time.
You're now listening to the legendary Vinyl Esquire.
Grandmaster D with his mouth, no hands.
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, the podcast that delivers culture, truth, music. Would you join me, please, in welcoming DJ Rip?
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, and my name is DJ Rip. And Vinyl Esquire is the DJ podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. And without further ado, I would like to introduce to Vinyl Esquire, the legendary DJ, turntablist, and iconic man behind those turntables. I want to welcome to Vinyl Esquire, the legendary DJ Grandmaster
Yes, y'all. Grandmaster D. Yes, y'all. In the place to be.
So again, every time you do that, my man, sound like you're getting ready to start rhyming, but you know. D, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed, man. I'm just staying above water, man.
Man, I really appreciate your time. You know, I appreciate you coming on the show. This is Vinyl Esquire, the DJ podcast. Yeah, so let's get right into it. So, D, tell me who or what made you want to be a DJ?
Oh, man. Going back to 1977, just moving from Brooklyn, moving to a place called Roosevelt Island. My first year of high school, Junior Richmond High School, right there in Manhattan, 68 2nd Avenue. I went to school with a lot of brothers and sisters from Harlem. So at that time, re-entering my homeroom class and listening to the brothers talk about rap. One of my classmates was Master Don. I had another one named Ski Jump, and I started rolling with Ski Jump first. And then I started rolling with Master Don right after. But Ski Jump was a rapper, and he was also a breakdancer. And his flow was incredible. One day during lunch period, we started eating lunch, and we had like 20 minutes left of lunch. They would go into one of the classrooms, but it was made as they call it the Spark Room.
Okay.
That's where everybody would go in there and play cards and listen to music. They have a radio in there, bring a box to school at the time, you know. And I went up in there and I heard them going, yes, y'all, and you don't stop. We like our sound, loud and clear. I said, yo, what is that? And they said, yo, that's rap. And I told my rap, and I said, rap. And that's when I started hearing the tapes. They were bringing tapes at the time. With no CDs out. Then they had tapes, cassette tapes.
Right.
They were playing Africa Bambaataa, Cool Herc, Fantastic Romantic 5, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. And I even heard Pebbly Pooh with Master Dawn. And they had so many DJ Spivey and Dr. Jekyll and even Mr. Hyde at that time.
Wow.
And I heard it, and I said, yo, I want to be down with that. What is that? And next thing you know, my classmate, Ski Jump, told me, yo, D, I'm gonna bring you a couple of parties. So later on that week, I said, all right, we'll do that. But then I got in touch with Don. Me and Don became close. And Don was the man that was working the turntables. Don was the king of the turntables that I knew in my school.
Right.
So next thing you know, he played in the school one day. I was like, wow. So I connected with Don, and he said, yo, you want to get into this? Yo, you come by my crib. I got turntables and all that, and you know, I'll teach you. And then that's when it happened, man, from there.
So what year would you say this was exactly?
77, 78.
So 1977, 78, this is Master Don who inspired you as well as basically taught you the ropes and, got you into DJing, yes?
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
man. May he rest in peace, man. Him and right after that, later on down the line, maybe half a year later, I met Whiz Kid, and we became tight.
Wow.
Whiz Kid showed me little tricks and all that too, and he passed away too. May he rest in peace. Those is my two heroes, man.
Right. So talk to me about your first DJ name.
My first DJ name was Master D, and came with that, and because everybody was coming up with names like Master Blaster, Master Sounds, then you had Master Dawn, so I came with Master D. And later on, I had to do a show in Brooklyn. This brother named DJ Urge that came up with a show, and I found out it was another Master D. And see, they started naming me Master D from Roosevelt Island, but the other thing about it, the other DJ, Master D, he was from Roosevelt Projects. So you would get that confused.
Right.
I'm from Roosevelt, he's from Roosevelt. So then I said, man, then I started seeing the Grand Wizard Theater, the Grandmaster Flash. I was going to like T Connection. So I said, yo, man, I got to be a Grandmaster. That's what I came and said, yo, I'm going to be Grandmaster D.
So what year would you say that you officially became a DJ?
Let's see, 70, in middle of 78, 79.
Yeah, so talk to me about those early years of, Grandmaster D, the late 70s, going into the early 80s.
Well, back then, at the time, I was still in high school, and I had a little part-time job, going to different offices, like a messenger at that time.
Okay.
And right after that, I started collecting records. So when I'm in the city, and I would hit all the record shops, like Disco Mat. It was a record store called Disco Mat. It was called Music Factory, Red Manhattan, and then it was Downstairs Records. So the best thing that happened to me was being in high school. All my classmates and all the people I knew that was into hip hop, they were from Harlem. So they knew about the Crash Crew. They knew about all of them. So that made it easy to connect with records because they was giving me names of records. And at that time, I wanted everything funky. If it was whack, I didn't play it. So they had break beats. And when I heard about the break beats, I went and got in touch with the people at Downstairs, and I became cool with Elroy. His brother name was Elroy. Everybody knew him because he was Zulu too. Everybody knew him. And I used to go to Downstairs and he'd hold certain records for certain people. If you didn't have no name, you wasn't going to get that record because sometimes, even at the time, when Bob James was out with Mardi Gras.
With Mardi Gras, right.
You couldn't find that record at the time. You could look anywhere, you couldn't find it. And if people were selling it, they charged you extra for it. But if you was a DJ that was known, they was going to look out for you. Then I had a guy named Lonnie that lived in the Bronx, Castle Hill. He was selling break beats. And I used to go to his house, and he'd show me what he got, and I would buy the breaks from him. And that had connect me. So I had all the break records. And for me living in Queens, I would play in Queensbridge too. So that's why a lot of people knew me in Queensbridge because I lived right across the bridge in a small island called Roosevelt Island. And I should hear them play music across that bridge.
Right.
So I was in the park, River Park. So I would go over there. And then we created a group at the time. It was Grandmaster D and the Jazzy Four.
Wow.
The Jazzy Four. Yeah,
okay.
Man, at that time. And I would go over there and play. And Dimple D, she had started with Marley Marl. Dimple D was an MC, a female MC. I'll get into that a little later, but later on I came out with two female rappers first. But when I was with the Jazzy Four, it was me and the Jazzy Four. We was all based out of Queensbridge, but I lived on Roosevelt Island. So everybody in Queensbridge at the time, you had, Dr. Bob Lee from WBLS. You had Marley Marl. You had Cousin Bruce. You had a lot of DJs out there.
Right.
That was in Queensbridge, but they were playing close to disco. They had I Can't Stop, and they had maybe Dancing the Drummers Beat an Apache. But when it came to all the beats, I had it all.
Wow.
Nobody didn't have what I had. And if I'm not mistaken, and I can remember this, that Honey Dripper, I came with that to Queensbridge, and Marley Marl never heard that. And I showed him that beat, and that's how he did that for the bridge.
Wow.
Nobody never spoke about that.
Right.
Nobody never talked about it. I had that beat, and I showed Marley Marl. And next thing you know, he did that beat. Real funny. Nobody would never say that, though.
Well, I'm glad you're talking about it right now. That's dope.
Yeah, and I came because I went to his house and I showed him that beat. But another thing was I came playing in Queensbridge, they had the best sound system. Disco Twins and Dr. Bob Lee, they would come up with their sound system. Disco Twins had 10,000 watts of power. You couldn't even stand in front of the speaker. Wow. That's how loud it was thumping. And, you know, coming up and being a DJ, just starting at that time, I said one day, they didn't know me good at the time. I was a ball player, too. I was real good in ball. So I played in a lot of tournaments. So my dream was to be an NBA player. But when the hip-hop came, I jumped on board.
Right.
You know, and then next thing you know, I said, one night, I'm going to get on them turntables right there. They were playing on 11As. I don't know if you ever seen the turntables 11As.
I have, yes, sir.
The first to come out, and they had those, and I said, one day I'm going to get on their set. And finally, when I started speaking to them, they let me come and play on their set, and I came to Reese Center in Queensbridge. Man, I had every break. They was looking at me like, wow, we didn't get that. Everybody was looking at me like, he got some breaks. Nobody had what I had.
Wow. So you would say, so what year are we at now? This is early 80s,
79,
right? Oh.
79.
Okay, got you. Go ahead.
79, getting ready to hit 80, because I remember King Tim III was out around then. I can remember that. I can remember the Crash Crew.
Right.
Out at that time. With the Freedom. They had that Freedom beat under it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and at that time, that was in Queens. So that's why everybody was saying hip-hop was in the Bronx. It was. It was in Harlem. It was going around everywhere. For me being in that high school in Manhattan, most of my parties was T-Connection and all of the Clinton Center and Harlem, because that's what hip-hop was. And at that time, little or not, man, I wanted to get so involved with hip-hop. At that time, like I said, they was calling it rap. I used to go to Bobby Robinson record store.
Right, absolutely.
And that's where Enjoy Records.
Right.
And I was became good friends with Bobby. And I mean, at that time, I was looking for MC so I can try to get a record deal or something going. And Bobby Robinson had Fearless 4. He had the Treacherous 3 and all that, Spoonie G. And, I mean, it was going on, man.
Right.
It was something, man. And, you know, getting into rap at that time, it was a beautiful thing, man, for people expressing themselves. But not only that, it was no talking about killing or hurting nobody. This started in the parks, and we did it for free, and it turned into money.
Right, absolutely. And we talking about Harlem right now, right? Bobby Robinson, Enjoy Records. There's a film right now on Epix, The Godfather of Harlem, with Forrest Whitaker. And they keep going back to that particular record store.
Yes.
That's incredible. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then at that time, too, they had parties in Harlem, like I was saying. Harlem World was the biggest thing in Harlem.
Right.
And the Celebrity Club on 125th. And, I mean, it was big, man. During that time, I wound up meeting the Ray Chandler, and that was Flash manager at one time. That was the Furious 5 manager. And me and Ray became cool. And next thing you know, Ray, I would help him promote parties. He'd give me flyers. I would put them out in different areas. So Ray said, well, D, I can manage you a little something. And next thing you know, he put me on a couple of flyers, with like the Harlem World flyer with Cold Crush Battle of the Fantastic Romantic Five.
Right.
I was on that flyer. My picture was on the flyer. And then at that time, that's when I had discovered the two female rappers. And I just hooked up with them. And I got them on the flyer with me.
Wow, okay.
And there was Dimples D and Giggles G. That was their name. And
okay, hold on. So wait a minute. Is this the same Dimples D that later made the record with Marley?
Yes, Sucker DJ. Yes, he was with me.
Wow. Okay, so that's incredible. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so now we were doing shows here and there, and Ray Chandler would put us on a couple of shows. They did one down Lower Manhattan, and then we did the one in Harlem World. We opened up for the show. So that's why I said when you say history, I was there.
Right.
I was on the flyer. I was on the show.
Yeah,
we opened the show.
Again, this is late 70s, early 80s, and you're talking about, so what was the group name? It was Grandmaster and what?
And Devastating 2.
The Devastating 2, wow.
MCs, yeah, 2 females.
Incredible.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know about that. You know, my dream was to get into this game. Because once I found out about it, I fell in love with it. And I was just trying to break in any way I can. And had 2 female MCs and played for a little while. Then after a while, we just got separated and other things started happening. And the next thing I developed Mr. Magic coming on the radio at night, Thursday nights, every Thursday at 2 a.m. Yeah, 2 a.m. Mr. Magic. And I started listening to him, and I would call in every Thursday.
Right.
And next thing you know, he started calling me a super listener. So when you call in all the time and they get you, and he'll put you down as a super listener. He said, Grandmaster from Roosevelt Island. He always said that. And next thing you know, I hooked up where they were doing a big concert at the Armory in Harlem. And it was all Sugar Hill artists, a bunch of Sugar Hill groups. And
Right.
I went up to the station. He said, "You want to help promote?" I went down there. I said, "Yeah." I went to get some flyers and posters or whatever. Next thing you know, I ran into Jalil. He was there, and that's how we met.
Got you.
And then when we met from there, we started talking. We exchanged numbers, and probably a week or two later, he came to my house with Ecstasy. They wanted to hear me play, and they saw me play and see what I can do. And next thing you know, I started rolling. They put me down.
So were they Whodini at that time?
Nah, they was getting ready to come. It was just Jalil Ecstasy. They was getting ready to come with their name. They didn't have the name yet.
Got you. And this was around the time when they made the record Magic's Wand, right? The theme record for Magic.
Right before that, they was getting ready to go in because they had made a demo for Mr. Magic with that SWAT record.
Right. Okay.
And then right after that, they went in the studio. They kept telling me they were going in the studio. We used to talk every day on the phone, and I would hit beats to him and let him hear something on the phone that'll help him write.
Right, right. How did you approach DJing? Because, you're an incredible turntablist. You became a trick DJ, right? How did you approach DJing at the time? What you said you wanted to be a Grandmaster because everybody had that name. Okay. So now you're Grandmasterdeee. But how did you separate yourself from the other Grandmasters or the other DJs that were already on the scene?
Okay. Like I was saying, when Master Don showed me that, he was the king of doing that spin back. He was quick, and I started following him with that. And then I started catching it. Then that's what made me get good at it. And I watched Theodore, and I was watching different DJs do tricks and all that.
Right.
And that's what made me want to keep up with the skills. I would practice every day up in the house. After school, I would come in and just practice. And that's what made me want to stay with their skills with the tricks. And, when I got in Whodini, being a part of that, once we took it to the road, we wanted breakdancing, we wanted scratching, and we wanted the MCs. So at that time, all the DJs, when we first started the tour, we took it to Europe. The first tour we did was in Europe. So Europe is not like New York. We could do these shows in New York and around the United States. You might do 45 minutes or maybe an hour. In Europe, they don't want no short change. You better do at least 2 hours. You better have something ready.
Wow.
And at that time, we only had a couple of songs out. So we had to freestyle. We had to do everything. Tricks. I played records for a good amount of time.
Right.
So they can get warmed up and get happy. And they was, at that time, this was like 82. 83, somewhere around it, right? So you got to look at Europe brand new to hip hop.
Right.
So they were brand new, but all they really knew was Rapper's Delight and maybe something from Flashing. But the good thing about us, when the Magic Wand was out, it was made in Europe. So that made them comfortable with it.
Gotcha.
It was playing in Europe. And for them, man, the response you get, it seemed like they were born into hip hop. The way they respond to the scratch. And all they got to do is hear a scratch, they go crazy.
Right. So, and you said it came out of that area because Whodini was on Jive Records at the time, and that was a European-based label, correct?
Yes, it was.
All right, so let's talk just a little bit about that process, like going from Magic's Wand to, the first singles of Whodini and, that first incredible album. I know a lot of it was produced, or majority of it was produced by Larry Smith. Talk to me about that right there. Now you're Grandmasterdeee, and you're now in a new hip-hop rap group called Whodini. Talk to me about the quick process of those records and your involvement.
I'm sorry, it was a blessing, to be part of the group, and everything we did was positive coming up through there. And Larry Smith was incredible because he was producing us at the time. When he was producing Run DMC, he had just finished with them.
Right.
And then he got to us. So I knew they were getting ready to have that King of Rock come out. So I knew in my mind that we had to come back hard.
Right.
We had to come back hard. And at that time, being in the studio with Larry, man, he was serious about his music. He loved music. And he was just he was like Quincy Jones of rap because he knew how to play the bass, he knew how to make the drum beats, he knew how to put this to it, he knew how to add anything to it. And at that time, right around half part of the album, I told Larry, I said, yo, we got to make a record about Grandmaster We need a DJ record. Because I remember he had just had that Jam Master Jay record out.
Right.
So I said, I need a scratch record, man. And he said, because then at that time, too, my brother-in-law back then, he said, yo, Drew, I need to come back with something funky, man. Something got to be funky. And that's when I went in there. I went to the corner store right down the block from the studio. I went and got me a 6-pack of Heineken because I was kind of bored being out there a little bit. And then when I drunk about 3 of them, and I came in, Larry Smith said, well, D, you start on the beat and I'll take it from there. So once I used the 909, put the drum beat down, I wanted to be plain and simple because everybody else was making DJ records or rap records with so many tracks of scratching going in and out, and you can't do it live.
Right.
You don't want to be fake about it. I heard so many scratches coming from all over the place. So you couldn't do that live.
Right,
so that's why I went in there and said, put the drum beat down. I had it, and we had it sitting there for a while. Then Larry said, he's ready to work on it. Then I put the So I know if I go live, I can go
Right.
So when it's on record, you make it simple. So then I went in there in the studio, took my voice, said, funky beat, funky beat, funky beat, funky beat. Did that, and next thing you know, I finished all that right there. I went back to New York after I was done with it. Next thing you know, Larry Smith came with the. He said, Drew, you got to hear this, what I got on here. I said, what? Then I heard, dun, 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 dun. Then I said, holy shit.
Right.
He said, any record that comes before this or come after, it better be harder than this.
Right.
This one, bang. And that's where it came from there. So the deal was then after the album was done, I went up to Jive Records and they were trying to debate what was going to be the single. And at the time, I think the crew wanted One Love. And I said, yo, we can't come back soft. We need to come back hard. We got to hit hard because Run DMC coming hard with their first single. We can't come back with the One Love single first. And then I told them about Funky Beat. Next thing you know, they dropped that Funky Beat. It was a blessing. That was a big intro for that album.
Right. And that was the second album, right?
No, that was the third album.
That's right. That was the third album.
Escape. We had the Whodini album first, then Escape, and then this one.
Right, but you guys just came off of Friends and 5 Minutes of Funk and, Freaks Come Out at Night. I mean, it was, absolutely amazing records and classics. And you come back. Okay, because I want to bounce around a little bit here. But, okay, we talking about Funky Beat. Let's talk about Funky Beat a little bit more. So you said that you wanted to make a DJ record, right?
Yes.
But you didn't want a lot of scratching on the record because you said you couldn't do it live. Because that's the interesting thing about Whodini is, when you look at Run DMC, right? You looked at LL Cool J. You looked at the groups that, that were out at the time. They all had DJs, and the DJs did, a good amount of scratching and cutting on the records.
Yes.
But I noticed that Whodini's approach was different when it came to the scratching and the DJing. Was it a conscious effort that you did more of that live versus on the music?
I did a lot of that live instead of on the music, and some part I regret it, but I just rather, my thing was like I like doing it live. It was good, but the Funky Beat I thought was gonna bring enough, even though it was just put that And then I did the Hornet Scratch. I did a Hornet Scratch record too. And that came out with some scratching on it. But with Funky Beat, I just wanted to be nice and neat because I swear I heard it was like AJ Scratch and a couple of other songs. And I felt they were doing it, but you couldn't do it live like that.
Right.
Because scratching coming from different tracks.
Absolutely. So now I want to bounce back because you brought up the Haunted Scratch and you were also known for the Echo Scratch, right?
Yes.
So these were periodically throughout the first 2-3 albums, right? But let's talk about, I want to get back to Funky Beat, but let's back up just a little bit. Let's talk about those Fresh Fest tours. There had to be some type of a scene or some type of a scenario when you would perform live, those iconic performances where you would be doing tricks on the turntables and they'd be picking you up and trying to pull you off the stage. Talk about the live experience that Grandmaster was bringing during that time with the Fresh Fest tours.
Yeah, well, the Fresh Fest tour, big shout out to Ricky Walker, who started the Fresh Fest tour. And at the time, you know, DJs were DJs, so we wanted to add that real scratch into it and give the crowd something to really relate to as a DJ. Because a lot of DJs wasn't doing it at the time. You know, you had the Jazzy Jeff, and Jazzy Jeff was transforming and all that, and that was new. That was new to the audience, too.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of DJs didn't get platforms like that because their MCs didn't allow it. They just let them do a little bit over the record, and that was it. So out of all groups that was on tour, I was the one that got a segment to show my talent and to show that I can scratch with just about any way I want to. And the crowd really loved it.
Right.
And I would scratch with my mouth, I would scratch with a sneaker, and I would spin around with no headphones. And that was, and man, after they would leave that Coliseum, a lot of them would say, man, Grandmaster D is it. So the word started bubbling. Yeah, Grandmaster D is a bad DJ. And still today, it makes me feel good to walk up or be in the airport, going to my flight or anywhere I can be going. And people say, I remember you on the Fresh Fest when they picked you up and trying to carry you up and you didn't want to leave. The crowd used to love it.
Right.
And it was something to give them, you know, because when you look at hip-hop is scratching, hip-hop is breakdancing, MCing, and graffiti. So you look
Absolutely.
at this, you get all the elements right there.
Absolutely, because and this is why I brought it up, because when you looked at those Fresh Fest tours, right, you had the graffiti in the background, you have the turntablists, or, you know, at that time you weren't called that, but you had yourself as a trick DJ and creating this showmanship. You got the MCs, and then you even had the dancers, because I know at that time it wasn't UTFO, but Dr. Ice and Kango were your dancers, right?
Yeah. They started, right when they first got with us, they was coming with UTFO. But by the time the next tour came, they were UTFO.
Wow.
And so right after that, that's when they had to break off, because that's when they fame started coming.
Right, they started making their own records.
Yeah, the Roxanne.
And the videos, right? You know,
Yes.
the Freaks Come Out at Night, you know,
Yes,
video.
the live video we did that in
Incredible.
Philly. We did it in Philly and Baltimore.
That's incredible. You saw young Jermaine Dupri, which you guys worked with later. You know, little kid dancing and that video alone, what I think that video did for the tour was amazing, because that was the video that we saw y'all live on tour, and it was just incredible, you know.
Yes.
And I'm sure that you have a lot of stories and a lot of experiences that you'll never forget from those tours, right?
Yes, man. I mean, it was a blessing to be, because we had to kick doors down.
Right.
They didn't know what was rap, what if it was going to be a fad or it was going to last. So we began to stage the first rap tour ever. So when we're doing that, you're looking at the beginning of the first one, people was coming out, wasn't selling out automatically. But then we had to go out there and do the legwork. They don't do that today. We had to go do in-stores and record shops, the mom and pop. We had to go to the mall, sign autographs, man. And next thing you know, it started blowing up. And that was it. Hip-hop was here.
Right. So now let's go ahead and bounce back. Let's talk about the music and you. Let's talk about Funky Beat. So this was a record that you approached for a DJ record. So,
yeah.
And it becomes the first single off the third album, and it's an incredible record. But you did something on this record that no other DJs were doing. Now,
the rap, huh?
Right. So it just made me think of Hollywood, DJ Hollywood, being a DJ, getting on a record and rhyming. What was the motivation for you to get on a record and rhyme, and you're the DJ for the group?
You know, a lot of people didn't know this back in the days. I started out really as a rapper before I was a DJ. And because I tell you, with Ski Jump, the guy Ski Jump was always with me. He was a rapper, and I kept hearing that. It was something about that echo chamber that made you always want to rhyme. And I used to always do it in the classroom, banging on the beat, trying to rhyme and all that. Everybody used to be laughing at me. And they looking at me like, that thing ain't going to work. And the next thing you know, I kept saying to myself, I got to get on one of these records and rap. It showed that I got skills. I could rap too. And next thing you know, we talked it out. And next thing you know, I was on the mic.
Okay, so hold on. You said you talked it out. So Jalil and Ecstasy had no reservations about you getting on a mic and rhyming.
No, Jalil did. I talked with Jalil about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I spoke with Jalil about it.
Right.
He took that chance. Yeah.
Again, it's an iconic record, and you broke down another door there. I mean, it wasn't like a lot of people followed your footsteps.
Yeah, because you gotta look at this. That at that time, DJs only stood behind the tables.
Right.
You barely, some DJs today that play for groups you never even knew them.
Right.
And they never talked about them, and they just come and play the music and leave. But it became a big thing, man, in my career. Every time I would come to do that record and my part comes, the crowd goes crazy.
Yeah, because it's not expected. And, giving credit to, those particular groups at the time, Run DMC, LL, Whodini, that at some point their DJ was always a part of the photos, the videos, Big Mouth and, One Love. And I mean, you were there. You weren't just the guy in the back that they saw live. You were a part of the group.
Yes.
From the visual standpoint and, the music. So it's incredible. So the funky beat, it was like, okay, so now like he's an incredible DJ and he's rhyming on these records. So it just made another dope moment in hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yes. And the video as well. The video was produced by Melvin Van Peebles. The one that directed all the movies, Mario Van Peebles' father.
Right.
Yeah, he directed it. Did you see we had an all-star cast in the video?
Absolutely. You did. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. So, so Whodini put out 6 albums, right?
Mm-hmm.
From 1983 to about 95. So I would assume, that Whodini, took up majority of your time as a DJ around that time. Would that be correct?
Yeah. I was doing mainly the group thing, and because a lot of DJs at that time, they were branching off doing shows on their own, and I never did that at the time because we were doing so much shows,
right?
With the group. So
the thing about Whodini as well is the kind of music you were making. It was almost like, and again, maybe this was planned, through yourself, the group, and Larry Smith. He was producing Run DMC and these other people and Whodini, and none of you sounded alike at all. But Whodini always had this perfect blend of hip hop, hard beats, and R&B,
yes.
Right? So it made for incredible radio records, which I believe is probably the reason why your records were so impactful because, young and old R&B and hip hop people loved Whodini.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're definitely right. We were like the group, like your parents might didn't like rap, but they say, I like that group Whodini, because they're different. And all we wanted the people to do was dance to our music. And come with good lyrics. It was like party songs we wanted to make. But at that time, there was no rap groups really making R&B songs. So all they was like, it felt like to me, they was in the basement just making drum beats and just dropping it over drum beats.
Right.
To me. So it was like almost, to me, being underground. But we were like the pop guys. Come to R&B and pop, we were there.
Right, absolutely. So with the transition of the 80s going into the 90s, right? And I mean, you guys started in 83 as a recording group, right?
Yeah.
And so you went through, I mean, I'm sure you toured.
You said 80, 82, 82.
Yeah, 82, 83. Okay. And you toured the world as Whodini. So hip hop was changing dramatically. Going into the late 80s, especially going into the 90s. How was that transition for you as a DJ, being a part of that type of a group, making that kind of music, that transition going from the 80s to the 90s?
It was different because the style started changing. Like the rappers, to me, coming into the game, it changed so fast because right before you knew it, you had Big Daddy Kane, you had like the Dress from Black Sheep, you had different groups coming.
Right.
So everything, the style was changing. People was rapping fast and the music scene was like different groups coming out of nowhere. So at that time, we just didn't go back in right away because we didn't feel comfortable really yet. Everybody had families at the time and everybody separated for a while.
Gotcha.
And then early 90s came, we had to get something out. But we left and we left Jive Records and went to NCA.
Right, right.
And that was around 91, something like that. And, MCA was like, to me, it felt like they just shelved the record.
Mm.
They didn't push it. And that's what we learned about what can happen when you're on a major label like that.
Right, right, absolutely.
They got their groups that's supposed to come out. They got who they going to push and who's going to radio today and who's going to do this. And we learned that. And things didn't work like it was supposed to work. So we still was looking for another home. And next thing you know, Jermaine Dupri snatched us.
Absolutely.
And that was in the 90s. And we took it from there. That was the last album we did, number 6.
Right, right. And I know you had another hit record with Terminator X.
Oh,
well.
yeah. Man,
Yeah.
that one should have been out of here. That one was the breadwinner right there. All come down to money.
Right.
Which D and them did. That one was hot too, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think, what was the reason? What was it, just growing, away from each other, or the music business changing?
Yes.
What do you think was really
was
the
both.
end of Whodini?
I think it was both. And the music industry changing, and not only that, we just started growing apart. Like I was saying, we had families and
Right.
raising kids and stuff, and and not only that, we were so used to being out front and being there, and didn't have to worry about really going all the way in and getting frustrated. This is not happening, that's not happening, and that stopped.
Right.
We didn't have no management with us like that no more, and things just went different ways.
How did you focus, and what did you do after the group?
Well, I started saying I got to get myself together and get back out there. So then it became me starting to DJ, and I said I'm going to start getting some shows and getting my feet wet as a DJ, because the world only knew me as being with Whodini. They've never really seen me play live, on my own.
Right.
So that's when I said I'm going to do more of that. And when it comes back, we'll go back in or whatever. We'll see what happens.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So after Whodini, and again, I mean, you were a DJ. We're talking late 70s, all the way through before Whodini. You had other groups. You've always been, an incredible DJ and turntablist.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
Whodini comes, Whodini goes. Okay.
Yes.
And now you move on, and now we're talking about the 90s, and I'm assuming going into the 2000s, you just went right back to being Grandmaster the DJ, right?
Yes.
So what kept you busy around the 90s and the 2000s? Was it DJing?
No, I wasn't DJing. I was laid back more. I was just sitting and trying to see if we're going to come up and make the group come back into the limelight. And things wasn't happening. Wasn't happening like it was supposed to. So right after that, now we're in the 2000s. We got to see what's going to happen.
Right.
Nothing was coming through like that. So we just didn't record no more. We just started doing shows, and it started picking up.
Gotcha.
Yep. Once it started picking up with the shows, everybody knew that, all right, we can book. We did a lot of Funk Fest, summer jams, and all that out around the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the turntables don't stop for Grandmaster D. That's for sure, right?
Yes, it don't stop now, and I'm doing shows here and there as we speak, and I'm doing a lot of things with the kids, and that's coming up. I just did one in New York where the police meets the kids, the DJ 878. He put it together. I came through and showed the love to the kids and gave them some advice, and it felt good, man, to see young kids 9 and 10 years old, 13 years old DJing, man.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So,
yes.
so you're out. You still tour. You're out DJing. So, what projects are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm just doing shows here and there, and I got some partnerships that's going on with me and Belvedere Liquor.
So Grandmaster D, what do you think that you were most known for as a DJ?
Scratching with my mouth and rapping and the rap, because they never really seen another DJ do it,
Right. Is there anything that you think the world doesn't know about Grandmaster D? I mean, for example, I didn't know you rhymed before you DJ'd, and I did not know that you had a rap group, 2 females prior to, being in Whodini. I mean, I just assumed that you were a DJ and then you were in Whodini. So is there anything else that you think the world doesn't know about Grandmaster D?
Well, maybe they don't know I'm a family man. I love my family, and I'm just staying above water, man, and God has blessed me to do what I do, and I don't take nothing for granted. And I just love the tour. I love to do shows. I love to entertain people. It's in my blood, and I'm not going to stop.
How do you feel about the current space that we're in with, technology and turntablism? You know where this comes from. You were there, right?
Yeah.
So from the parks to, no technology, coming from nothing, the crates, the beat breaks and the records, and, you know where this comes from. How do you feel, where we're at, with the DJ culture?
I feel incredible about it because I always love scratching and DJing in front of people. You got to think about you starting in your apartment, and next thing you know, you're touring the world. And to me, the best thing about this hip hop, who thought it would have last? We did it in the park for free. Now it's $1 billion business. So now you look at where you got people overseas reacting to hip hop. And not only that, now because of hip hop, we got clotheslines, you got magazines, you got television shows, we got all of this now. Then you got to think back to where it's going. You got young kids, but I look at them a little different because with the love of hip hop for me, it wasn't cussing, it wasn't talking about hurting nobody, it was talking about killing. People might have rapped about themselves during that time,
right?
But then it came into stories, just like Jalil was writing stories, and just like Slick Rick was writing stories. He was a storyteller. So that's why you use it to your imagination, and you take it from your imagination, and you write it and you put it down, and then you show it to the world. But to me, we got to get it back to where it was fun. Don't look like they having fun like how we did, and I really think the blessing about the turntables now is, back in the days, it was strictly vinyl. Now they got CDJs, they got this and that. But to me, I got to play vinyl. I still love the vinyl. I love the vinyl. I like the feel of it. I like the touch of it, and it's the way I like playing on it. But because of this today, the best thing that ever happened was when they came with that Serato.
Right.
You ain't got to carry crates no more.
Right.
How many crates of records you got to come up? But back then I had crates of records, but I knew what songs were where. I knew where they were at. I could go get them.
Right.
But you can't get it quicker than that Serato.
Do you still have? Now, no. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I have thousands and thousands of records. I'm a DJ myself, and yes, Serato, helped save all of our backs, right?
Yes.
But you had mentioned in the very beginning of the interview how at that time you felt like you had the breaks, you had all those records, you had a lot of stuff that a lot of people didn't have or weren't playing. Do you still happen to have your original collection?
Yeah, I got some of them left. You wouldn't believe this though. My mother one day told my brother them to throw my stuff out.
Oh no!
But she just thought because it was stacked up.
Right.
They were all stacked up, but I was gonna get them, and she just got tired of seeing them there. I went crazy.
I
went crazy. I said, "Mom, you know how much those records are worth?" But I still got a lot under the stairs. I got a bunch of them.
Right. I mean, those records are worth a lot of money, D. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
So,
but you know what? Right now, I go through my collections now. Even on Serato, I look and I know my history of music, so I can go back and I love it that I can listen to it and play it. And like now, I go play in shows today. I give them a little bit of the old stuff that they ain't hear in years, and they really feel it, man. Because music, man, brings people together, man. Music brings people, and it's good music, man. I don't know. I don't have nothing bad to say about these new artists that's out here making this killing and all this on their records or whatever. But you got to look at yourself later on down the line. You're gonna have kids, man. You got to look at it to the point where, it makes money now, but at the end of the day, you got to answer to that.
Well, the beautiful thing about the music that you were blessed to make with Whodini and everything that you did, you can listen to those records now, aside from the fact that they still tear the club down and their favorites. But you can listen to the music y'all made overall, sit down with your kids and listen to that music.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And the blessing is Larry Smith, man.
Yes.
May he rest in peace. He deserves all the credit, man.
Yeah.
He was incredible, man. He brought you that sound. And he was so funny about him. If it wasn't a hit, he wouldn't give it 5 fingers. 5 fingers, excuse my French. But he would do when there's a hit, he'd take his 5 fingers and grab his private. And that means it was a hit.
Wow.
That means it was a hit record. If he didn't do that, it's not ready to go.
You know,
not ready to go.
You know, you know what's crazy is, and maybe this is something that maybe you think about doing in the future, but there should be a documentary on Larry Smith, because he was an incredible producer, but I don't think he gets the accolades he deserves, and it's most likely because
he never gave them that.
Right.
And BET and everybody knew about it.
Right.
Nobody wanted to talk about it. That's what I was upset about, man. They talk about everybody, or they talk about, you get the Teddy Riley's, you get this one, but Larry brought it.
Right.
He makes everybody sound different. You got to think about Run DMC didn't sound like us, and we didn't sound like them. He did Curtis Blow.
Yep.
And he did Allison Williams.
Right.
He did all that. He did Crush Groove back in the days. I Need Action.
Yes.
He did all that.
Absolutely. I was talking to Davey DMX recently, and we talked about Larry as well. Incredible, may he rest in peace, and maybe there'll be something that'll shine light on his life in the future.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, he was just incredible.
So D, before we get out of here, one last question: can you just give me one story, one incredible experience? You gave me a lot, but can you give me one incredible experience from your history, from hip hop, that somebody might not know? Just something, an experience, or something that may have happened in the past through Grandmaster Dee's eyes.
Going back, man, to the best thing ever, man, was when we came to New York after the tour in Europe, and we got a chance to do Madison Square Garden. That's the best story to me of all time. And playing in front of Disney Castle.
Wow. Okay.
Castle in Walt Disney in Florida. And that was an honor to do that. And because we used to see it on TV. We never thought we would play in front of the castle. We played with New Edition on that. But seeing the Madison Square Garden, that's my all-time. I'll never take it away from me, because 20,000 people. When you played the Garden, the only thing we knew about the Garden was the New York Knicks. Right. And here we came to the Garden, to New York, and even Nassau Coliseum, it was sold out. It was sold out.
Wow.
And to hear, and this is the story I got to say. At that time, in New York, my mother was in we did the Apollo Theater, and my mother was in the bathroom, and she heard some women in there whispering, they fixing their face up. She just used the bathroom, and she's getting ready to wash her hand and come out, and she heard them arguing with each other, 3 women, and they were like, yo, I don't care what's going to happen. I'm going after that DJ Grandmaster D. And the other girl said, you ain't going to get him before me. Didn't even know my mother was right next to me. She was just giggling about it, and didn't say that, just walked out. That was the whole time.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny, because would you have thought that you would have became, I don't know, sex symbols? I don't even know if that's the right thing. But
yeah, they call us the sex symbols of rap. But because we wanted to be different, we had to dress. We liked to dress with gaiters or ballies, or
right.
We was always well dressed, so we wanted to be different.
Right, absolutely.
So
and
we made it stand out.
And was that a conscious effort? Was that a group effort? The fashion, the image of Whodini?
Uh-huh. Okay. Because Jerome X was a little different to me. I'm supposed to be like the B-boy almost. That's what I felt like.
Right.
But I still was a dresser too. I had the latest B-boy style clothes on, Kango.
Absolutely.
And, everybody knew, so we went sportswear.
Absolutely. Incredible. Mm-hmm. How can our listeners follow Grandmaster D?
Grandmaster D, Instagram, The Real Grandmaster D, Instagram, Drew GMD Carter, Facebook, and do it from there.
Well, D, I want to thank you for coming on Vinyl Esquire and allowing me to peel back those layers, man, and allowing me to open up your history book and, show it to the world. You know what I mean? I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, man, for having me, man. And big shout out to my wife and my family, my sisters, my brothers, and everybody from around the world, man, that's listening, man. All right, follow your dream. Don't let nobody stop you, and keep unity in the community, because without unity, we won't have a community. All right, we all are one.
Absolutely. You're now listening to Vinyl Esquire. My name is DJ Rip, and this is the legendary DJ Grandmaster D.
Hello, world. I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, the podcast that delivers culture, truth, music.
This is the Fresh Festival Part 2, 1985. We hope you enjoyed the show. We did the best we could. This is the rapper Jalil. This is the great Grandmaster. This is my brother Dynasty.
Twins, Jermaine. And we